All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Military History Chronicles. Myself, Eric, here joining you tonight. Doing double duty tonight, guys. But here I am on this Veterans Day. Decided to go live. Again, I want to thank all the veterans out there. Guys, appreciate for what you did for the country. It means more than what words can put. You know, I served with a lot of great guys, and a lot of people, you know, lost their lives to establish this country and to keep the freedoms that we have and are able to enjoy today. So let's not forget all the veterans who have served the country. All right, let's get into this, guys. Today's title: Can President-elect Donald Trump negotiate a peace between Russia and Ukraine? Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. It's gonna be. Look, it's not gonna just be. Just don't take my word for it, guys. I'm gonna use an article that was written. As a matter of fact, I think it was written today, but it came out last night by Sergey Radchenko. I should say Professor Sergey Radchenko. He's an expert in Russian history and to include actually Chinese history as well. The guy is very smart in what he's doing. Fantastic historian. And yeah, I think you guys will get a lot for what he has to say, because there are going to be some challenges here. You look, one of the things that Donald Trump has said during his campaign is that he's going to end the war immediately. Look, it's not going to be that easy, guys. It just isn't. You just don't sit there and say, I'm going to end a war. Look, it's nice to have that confidence. I get it. But come on, man. Come on. You just can't go out there and say that and not understand the nuances of what it's going to take. Anyway, what's up, guys? I see Val. I see Matt. I see Senior. Lamer12. What is up? Is my audio still a little bit low? Gosh dang it. I thought I had it turned up. Let me know, guys. If my audio is a little bit too low, let me know. Rox is out there. I also see Ryan. Tom Wayerts. What's up? Instant. And I see Johnny out there, too. What's up? Anyways, yeah, so a lot's happened since I went live last time. Donald Trump was elected handedly. Was elected as the next president of the United States. First time since, Grover Cleveland, right? He was the last guy to get elected, then not get elected, and then get elected again. So Donald Trump is in rare territory when it comes to presidential election history. Anyways, let's get into this. Let me hear. I mean, let's hear what you guys have to say as well, guys, in the chat. I'm interested to see what you have to say, because this is going to be interesting in how he's going to navigate this. We all understand the circumstances of how this war started. Russia invaded Ukraine on some weird pretext, if you will. Invaded again. This is the second time he's invaded Ukraine. He did it first in 2014, and of course again in 2022. Let's see. The boss is going to read. Well, I'm not going to get into that. Not going to get into the domestic stuff, but I'm going to stick specifically just to foreign affairs stuff. That's all I'm going to say. Just going to stick to the foreign affairs stuff. You guys want to talk it amongst yourselves out there as far as all the power is out? Oh, that's not good, Jim. Not good. I'm going to stick to just the foreign affairs portion of what we may expect in this specific instance of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Also, Jim, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Jim, I never asked, are you a veteran? If you are, thank you for your service as well. If you're not, I thank you for thanking me for service. But where was I going to go with this? It's going to be interesting to see how this all, again, pans out. Oh, since I created this stream, it sounds like there's been some news. Sounds like there's been a nomination for Trump's national security advisor. What's up, Mo? And there's also been a nomination for Secretary of State, Mike Waltz, or Waltz, I think it is. Hold on, let me show you. I can't remember. I think it's Waltz. Waltz. Mike Waltz has been tapped to be the new national security advisor. And Mark Rubio, or I should say Marco Rubio, is going to be the nominee for Secretary of State. Again, that's going to be important as far as the what United States plans to do abroad. You know, again, under the Trump doctrine. Yeah, Rubio. Yep. So we'll see how this pans out. Both of them. It's Waltz, not Walls, but Waltz. There's a T in there. Not the walls of, yeah, it's Waltz. Correct. W-A-L-T-Z. That is correct, Lemur. By the way, welcome. Both of those guys are, I think they want to take a hard line towards China, which is Little Marco. Yeah, I remember that. They want to take a hard line to China, which is it's important. Waltz. Yeah, I saw crypto's blown. I've heard that too. But Waltz is a former special forces in the Army. So he's got some military background. It's nice to have. He's done a lot of stuff. We could get into his bio here after we talk about this, about whether or not Trump can negotiate peace. I'm not going to even get into that. But yeah, I saw who it is. Guy's going to be a strong leader. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not going to even get into that. Going to stick primarily to the Russian-Ukrainian War. All right. Where did I want to go with this? Right there. Let me scroll all the way up. I'm going to have to blow this up a bit. Again, this is an article by Sergey Radchenko. Let me do this whole damn thing. This is always a pain in the butt. Let's see how I do. Let's see how I can get this here. There it is. Is this the one? This is the one. Okay. Hope! Look at that. I figured it out. Okay. Again, like I said, guys, I'm using OBS. A little bit different. Okay. Let me make sure if I scroll, make sure we're good. We are good. Okay. Guys, I'm not going to be able to see the chat while I'm doing this. Again, this is by, as I said, Sergey Radchenko. We'll talk about what he's all about here at the end. President-elect Donald Trump and his anxious determination to bring the war to a prompt close may soon discover that the Russian leadership has a different timeline and indeed a different goal. For Putin's goal is not so much to end the war, but to win it, guys. Okay? Let's talk about this. This is not going to be about it's not going to be about just negotiating a peace, right? There's going to be much more to this. Putin wants to win. Let's not make any bones about it. We're talking about Vladimir Putin. He doesn't want to lose. So this, again, is not, it's not like you just could go into a boardroom talking face to face and saying, yeah, hey, Vladdy, let's have a talk. Let's talk this out. It's not going to work with Putin, guys. It's not. And it's going to be interesting to see how this is all going to go down. Because again, this is one of the big things he talked about during his campaign, ending the Russian-Ukrainian war. All right, where are we at? Oop. Get back here, there. We'll go back to Twitter in a little bit. There we go. Let's keep going. During his presidential campaign, President-elect Donald Trump promised to find a quick settlement to the Ukrainian war. There is often a vast gap between electoral promises and what any president can deliver. But the gap becomes even wider in foreign policy in the matters of war and peace. Can Trump help end this war? It would be a major feat if he did, but odds are stacked high against this outcome. To understand how this war may end, it is important to assess Vladimir Putin's goals. True, his goalposts have moved before and can move again. Yet several issues stand out as particularly intractable. First, Ukraine's permanent neutrality. Putin has claimed that the prospect of Ukraine's accession to NATO was a key reason for Russia's invasion. I'll tell you why in a bit. Such claims must be taken with a grain of salt, since they fail to account for Putin's blatant, rapacious imperialism. Be that as it may, the Kremlin has consistently highlighted Ukraine's neutrality as sine qua non of any future settlement. Indeed, during their ill-fated peace talks in 2022, known as the Istanbul talks, there's a lot of news about that. I don't know if you guys have researched that, but there is a lot of news about those Istanbul talks. Though they began in Belarus, continued in Istanbul, and ended ingloriously on Zoom. Russian and Ukrainian negotiators attempted to define precisely what Ukraine's neutrality would look like. The sticking point was guarantees. Understandably, Kiev insisted on real guarantees, which would commit Ukraine's Western partners, first and foremost the United States, to the country's defense. If Trump were to tackle this matter, he would discover quickly that there are two basic problems. NATO has already committed itself, albeit vaguely, to Ukraine's membership. Indeed, the alliance's Washington summit declaration back on the 10th of July of this year, 2024, states plainly that Ukraine's future is in NATO. True, a declaration has no legal power, and reneging on this promise, which in any case will be hard to keep, is not technically impossible. Even if doing so would entail a certain loss of face. But this is only half the problem. Suppose Ukraine agreed to permanent neutrality. Could the United States offer viable guarantees, committing itself to Kiev's defense in any future war with Russia? And will Putin accept such guarantees? Given that in the Istanbul, the Russians deliberately tried to water them down by insisting on the principle of unanimity among guarantor states, including Russia itself. These are not minor questions, but their resolution could open a path to settlement. If the question of neutrality were to be successfully tackled, Trump would immediately face another problem: territory. All right, let's talk about the first part, the neutrality. Again, that's going to be a big deal, guys. Why is it going to be a big deal? Because Ukraine needs to have the ability to understand they're going to have friends to help them. Because if Ukraine doesn't have friends to help them, what's going to happen? Russia's going to do the same exact thing. They're going to go roll right into Ukraine when the time is right. It's going to happen. There's no doubt about it. Everyone understands that that is going to happen. There is no doubt about it. It may not be in a couple of years. It could be in 5 years. It could be in 10 years. Who knows? As long as Putin is a powerful, if there's another leader that comes in, well, that changes the scenario. No doubt about it. But Ukraine needs to have guarantees. Now, as they said back during the NATO meetings in Washington that happened over the summer, they had come out and said that Ukraine is going to eventually join NATO. Again, specifically for that security guarantee. Russia won't have nothing to do with it. But what's weird is Poland is in NATO. Lithuania is in NATO. Estonia is in NATO. Latvia is in NATO. All those countries are pretty damn close to the border of Russia, right? But he didn't seem to have a problem with those countries entering NATO. As a matter of fact, his invasion of Ukraine created two historically neutral type countries to join NATO, Finland and Sweden. They had no intense purposes to join NATO prior to 2022 with the invasion. Lo and behold, Russia invades. Now you got people who are like, hey, you know what? We want some damn guarantees because we don't want the same things that happen to us. Eastern Europe and Europe in general are concerned that Russia is not going to stop with NATO. And look, does that mean it's going to happen again? Does that mean it's going to happen next year? No. But they are truly concerned because if you look at Russia's economy, yes, it's not exactly humming, but their economy is primarily at a wartime footing. It's all about building the military. And you got to be careful with that. What's up, Shardall? Again, those security guarantees is not going to be an easy task to overcome for Donald Trump when he's negotiating with Putin. How are you going to get around that? I can't answer that question. It's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. You may just, again, Putin wants to win, right? And the giants. The United States are going to have to show some strength. Not this strength with, the strength of the military, but strength as in you better take our word and understand we mean what we say. If you're going to have to. And how is he going to do that? We don't know. All right, let's get more into this. Now we're getting into territory. This is going to be a tough one, guys. Again, Trump would immediately face another problem if they solve the security issue. Territory. Since 2022, Russia has formally annexed not just the two breakaway statelets, the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic, but also two other Ukrainian regions, Kherson and Zaporizhia. Though it still does not control all of the territories that it has formally annexed. Putin has not given any indications that he would be willing to retreat from the territories that the Russians have occupied. The United States have certain cards. The key among these is the formal recognition of certain occupied territories as Russian. There is no doubt that Putin covets such recognition, for it would have an effect of legitimizing his control of territories acquired through conquest. By the way, guys, if you want to read an excellent book on the Cold War, Professor Radchenko, his thesis talks about the legitimization, the recognition that former Soviet Union and Russian leaders have desired throughout its history. So if you guys really want to read about that kind of stuff, it's a book called To Run the World. I highly recommend it. Again, if you're into it, it's not a short read. It's voluminous. But it's well worth it. Again, if you're interested in Cold War history, it's absolutely incredible. Let me see, Eric, assuming Ukraine permits neutrality, I'm not sure they can expect security guarantees from the USA. At that point, should they not handle their own national security? Can they? Can they, though? Can they? They would not have been able to do what they're doing without the help of the United States. And of course, Europe. Europe has also helped. Let's not sit there and say that Europe hasn't contributed, because they've contributed quite a bit. You still need security agreements to prevent another attack. Look, Ukrainians have been absolutely courageous in defending against the onslaught of the Russian army. Absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And as Lemur talks about it, I don't know the official number, but it's absolutely incredible. Yes, it's devastating. And they're still going at it. Look, Russia is not to be trifled with. And he's in it to win, man. And this is going to be tough when you're negotiating. It's easy to make these campaign promises saying, I'm going to end the war. But look, it's not that easy, guys. And there's going to be some roadblocks and some challenges. It's all going to be about how they're able to negotiate. It's going to be interesting. Even if Trump does not care about the ultimate disposition of Crimea, never mind the war-ravaged wasteland of Donbass, recognizing any occupied territory as legitimately Russian would be a precarious undertaking. It would set a highly undesirable precedent and expose the White House to criticism that it is appeasing an aggressor in a tragic repeat of Munich. I'm going to stop there for a minute. Everyone understand what they're talking about Munich? Does anyone understand what they mean with the Munich Agreement? Anybody? Anyone have idea what Professor Radchenko is referring to when he's talking about the Munich Agreement? Right on, Chardal. There you go. Good for him. Tell him Happy Veterans Day. Peace in our time, Mark Dodary. Yes, sir. There you go. World War II. We're talking 1930. Was it 1938, 1939? Can't remember the exact date. Peace at hand. Yeah, Neville Chamberlain, the Prime Minister of the UK, signed an agreement with Hitler. He was promising he was not going to invade any other countries as long as we give them parts of Czechoslovakia. Yes. Supposedly, it was supposed to prevent World War II, right? Well, it didn't. You appeased Hitler. Look, and that was the last. Look, there was a lot of appeasement with Hitler. The Munich Agreement just happened to be the last one. When you appease a dictator, a tyrant, a leader such as Hitler. Hey, what's up, LD? You're asking you're asking for trouble. Honestly. You're asking for trouble. History, remember. You know the old adage about history repeating itself, right? Well, it's not always the case, but people have to understand that there is precedent. You start going down that path, you could get burnt. And how do you have any credibility when you sit there and you appease a guy who invaded another country for no reason? How do you do that, guys? I don't know how. Again, I'll keep saying this. It's not going to be easy. And this is before we account for Kiev's view on the surrender of its territories. Getting Zelensky to agree to such a sordid deal will be a first-rate challenge. Can't blame him. Why would Ukraine want to give up their land? Does it make sense? Does it make sense to give up land that was taken from them? Again, guys, it just doesn't make sense to me. Third, the Ukrainian army. Putin has claimed wrongly that in Istanbul, Russia and Ukraine effectively agreed on a deal before Boris Johnson allegedly ruined it by telling Zelensky to fight on. In reality, the two sides remained far apart on a key question on the size of Ukrainian armed forces and the equipment that it would be allowed to have. Since then, Ukrainian's army has proven its effectiveness and resilience on the battlefield. Putin would be very worried by any peace deal that would leave Ukraine with a modern military force that could resist Russia's incursions and potentially attempt to retake the lost territories. Zelensky, too, understands that maintaining a strong military is Ukraine's best guarantee of national survival. Trump will find it difficult or perhaps altogether impossible to square this circle. Again, talking about the size of the Ukrainian army. We shouldn't dictate the size of the Ukrainian army. Russia shouldn't dictate the size of the Ukrainian army. They're the ones that were invaded. They should be able to do what they want with their military. Again, talking about Ukraine. Again, look, they've been invaded. And look, we're just talking about 2024 or 2014 and 2022. There is a lot more history in the past of Russia taking over Ukraine. I'm not going to go down that. I'm not going to go down that path. Guys, no, you cannot come on because I'm on OBS, Chardal, and it's a lot more difficult than just throwing out the link. I can't just throw out the link. Fourth, Ukraine's domestic legislation. Russia has a bizarre fixation on amending a number of Ukrainian laws, in particular those that deal with historical memory and language. This is what hides behind the ambitious project of denazification, which Putin has made one of his aims in this war. Ukrainians have rightly claimed that these demands represent a humiliating and unwarranted interference in Ukraine's internal affairs. It remains to be seen whether Zelensky will consider his approach should a peace deal become a practical possibility, or whether Putin will finally give up on his efforts to Russify Ukraine in return for some juicy concession. Again, it's a little bit weird. What does Russia have anything to do with the laws that Ukraine passed? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Fifth, the sanctions relief. This is perhaps one area where the United States has a very, very important cards to play. Despite Putin's best efforts to put on a brave face, it is hardly a secret that Russia's economy is facing significant challenges. Removing sanctions and agreeing to release Russia's frozen foreign assets would be an important carrot that President Trump could offer Putin in return for his cooperation. there are complexities in store. For example, Trump would also have to bring in his European allies around to follow suit. Important questions would have to be asked about post-war reconstruction. Who would foot the bill? That could be something big. If you guys remember, after World War I, it crippled the German economy. Granted, they had some relief after World War I from having to pay, but initially, Germany had to pay a pretty big bill because of World War I. Anyways, any would-be peace negotiation would be daunted by the enormity of the task at hand. But behind these issues lurks an uncertainty. Will Putin even want to negotiate? Sure, he may agree to meet and talk. After all, he who holds the banner of peace has the moral advantage. But it may well be that after investing so heavily in re-gearing Russia for war, after paying such a high price in blood and treasure, Putin will want to continue the war until Ukraine falls and Russian troops march through Kiev. Trump, in his anxious determination to bring the war to a prompt close, may soon discover that Putin has a different timeline and indeed a different goal. For Putin's goal is not so much to end the war, but to win it. And he has already shown that he can patiently and methodically advance towards this goal. Faced with such a determined and resourceful opponent, Trump will grow frustrated and blame his failures on Zelensky's stubborn refusal to compromise. If, in his frustration, Trump pulls the plug on the U.S. support of Ukraine, he will make Putin's task much easier. And in the end, the American president may well choose to give up on Ukraine altogether, and so end the war, as he had promised, by letting Russia win it. Again, guys, article written by Sergey Radchenko. Guy is awesome. He's a Wilson E. Schmidt Distinguished Professor at the Kissinger Center of Global Affairs and School of Advanced International Studies at Johns Hopkins University. Again, guys, this is something that is not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy. Again, I'm focusing specifically, I'm not going to go into all the things that President-elect Trump is talking about doing. I'm talking specifically about this Russian-Ukrainian war. It's going to be tough, guys. It's not going to be a walk in the park, as they say. Look, as Sergey so eloquently wrote, Putin wants to win this. 100%. Putin wants to win this. Okay, what do we got here? I don't think Trump wants to fight Russia, vice versa. Could be something to that. But how do you negotiate that war then? Are you guys fine? I'm asking, are you guys fine with Russia just rolling over Ukraine and taking it over? Because that may be something that happens. Or do you continue to support Ukraine in fighting against Russia? Trump and Putin are buddies. Yeah, I don't know about buddies, but there's definitely a relationship there from what has been written. From those who served in the Trump administration. I mean, this is going to be interesting, guys. Again, what has the United States lost in this? Have we lost any blood? Nope. Oh, have we lost treasure? Yes, we have. We've given them a lot of military equipment. Absolutely. Ukraine has to give up land to Russia. Why? Rocks, why? What if Mexico decides to invade Texas, Arizona, and California and claim that land as Mexico? Do you say, hey, just give it to them? How good did rolling over serve the world in Vietnam? Okay. I can't tell you how it's going to end, Tom. I can't sit here and explain to you how the war will end. But I don't know. I just don't understand how people could sit here. It's like you read about World War II and everyone's, majority of people say, well, how the hell did we allow this to happen? You appeased Hitler over and over. He continued to take land. And how did we do this? Russia, a superpower? Nah. Russia's not a superpower. Does Russia have nuclear weapons? Absolutely. But would you consider them a superpower? No. I would not consider Russia at this particular time a superpower. But does that give them the right to take over a country that they had no right taking over? I don't know, man. To me, that just seems totally opposite about what the United States stands for. Again, I don't know where that line is. I don't know where that line is. Ukraine is lost. They have. Is it lost? They're putting up a fight, man. They're putting up a fight, and they're putting up a fight because of Western help, both from Europe and the United States. This is interesting, guys. I mean, look, you guys could feel however you want to feel. I got a way I feel. You guys have a way that you want to feel. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I worry about the ramifications. You know, we sit there, we got after Biden for pulling out of Afghanistan, right? Which kind of has led to this mess, right? It plays a factor in it. But isn't that doing the same? Aren't you doing the same with Ukraine? You're just saying, Mike, I'm not talking about that, man. I'm talking about specifically the Russian-Ukrainian War. World War III, come on. Let's be careful on the World War III. I don't think we're there. Look, are we in the maybe the labor pains? Sure. But it's not just because of the Ukrainian thing. We're in World War III, the labor pains of World War III because of what's going on in China, what's going on with North Korea, what's going on in the Middle East. Then again, the Middle East, I think, is going to get ready to, there's going to be some other things going on, I think, over there. I think there was a lot of puffing up by Iran, but whatever. Europe has donated quite a bit. You'll have to look it up. Europe has donated, donated. I don't know if that's the right word. They've helped Ukraine quite a bit. Trump negotiated. Yes, he did. Trump was instrumental in the timeline for Afghanistan. Now, did Biden screw up in how he did it? Absolutely. 100%. Russia came from Ukraine. Well, I'm not going to get into that. Simple solution. Stop the war, as in let Crimea decide if they want. You got to be careful. Cryptic. Come on. You know just as well as I do. You let that go to a vote. What do you think's going to happen? You think there's going to be some tampering? Come on. You got to be careful. What does the majority of the people of the U.S. want? That's a good question, Tom. I think there's still quite a bit of support for Ukraine. And let's not forget. Oh, wait. Moji, I think I know what you're talking about. Did you say something up here? Are you talking about nuclear weapons? Yes, Ukraine. Let's think about this. Back in 1991, Ukraine, again, this is during the fall of the Soviet Union, Ukraine had quite a bit of nuclear weapons within Ukraine. Ukraine did not want to give up. They did not want to give up those nuclear weapons. But there was an agreement. Imagine this. There was an agreement that was signed by Russia saying they would not threaten Ukraine with force or do anything with their country if they gave up those weapons. Well, Ukraine gave up those weapons, and what happened? I don't know, guys. I don't know. What's up, Marcus? How's it going, man? He's asking if I was happy Trump won. I didn't like either candidates. Again, for their own specific reasons. Is Trump going to do some good? Absolutely. No doubt about it. I just don't like how he is as a person and maybe as a leader. Now, again, let's see how long he keeps his cabinet together. Is his cabinet going to last more than a few months before he starts swapping people out again? Just don't care for that. Ukraine is done. What do you mean by that, Mike? Why? How are you saying Ukraine is done? If I'm not mistaken, Mike, I think Ukraine has invaded Russia in the Kursk region. They actually have taken Russian land. Usually when a nation goes on the offensive, they're not done. Are they getting pushed in the East? Absolutely, they're getting pushed, but they're paying an awfully high price for it. Lemur, great point. Talking about European nations paying the quote unquote their fair share in their national defense. That's a great, yes, they have to do more. Germany has to step up, but Germany really has painted themselves in a corner. That could be a topic for another day. Poland is not messing around. Poland is becoming a powerhouse in Europe, guys. They understand the threat, and they are taking steps to address that threat. I think they're spending close to 5% of their GDP on national defense. I think Russia will take you. Okay, is that good? Mike, is that good? Do you think that should happen? Again, do you think that should happen? I mean, hey, if you're, can't we all just get along? Ain't that the truth, LD? Yeah, we're here sitting here in 2024, right? And this is, it's just weird. The world's a weird place right now. I think we can all agree on that. But again, to go back to can Trump negotiate? I don't think Trump can negotiate this peace. I just don't think so. Could he sit there and say, we're just going to stop supporting Ukraine? Look, that has a higher percentage of occurring than trying to negotiate for a peace. I just saw Trump having to Ukraine after. Come on. I don't know why people bring up the whole money stuff. You look, was there money being? I'm sure there was. I'm sure there was. But what in the hell has that have anything to do with Russia invading Ukraine? Let's take that. Let's just for the sake of argument say yes, there is money involved. What does that have anything to do with Russia invading Ukraine? Nothing. Did Russia invade Ukraine because the Bidens got money? No, they invaded Ukraine because Putin has this damn fantastical vision in his head to reform the old Soviet Union. Do you see what I'm saying? It just, again, I don't think Trump can negotiate the peace. I don't think so. It's either he just stops supporting Ukraine and he just lets Ukraine fall and lets Russia take over. And you tell me, what type of strength are you showing the rest of the world? What is China going to do in response to that? Because China, man, I'm telling you, that's the next shoe that's about to drop. And that's, you think this Ukrainian thing's an issue? You ain't seen nothing yet, guys. Absolutely nothing. It's going to be difficult. These type of negotiations are not easy, and it could take years, literally. It may take longer than what Trump has in office. Putin's in it for the long haul. He has paid a huge price in waging this war. But has that stopped him from fighting? It hasn't. Potential GOP strategy in Ukraine divided, as some say Trump will be tougher, others feel, I don't know. We'll find out, Mike. We're going to find out. Then Russia is on Poland's doorstep. Absolutely. And if Trump leaves NATO, I don't think that's going to happen. There's no way. There's no way. No, okay, instant, no. Ukrainian NATO membership will not happen while bullets are flying. There will have to be a peace agreement and then the NATO membership. You cannot have a potential NATO nation or a potential nation that wants to join NATO join in the middle of fighting because then it triggers Article 4. You can't do that. How many wars happened when Trump was president? None. How many wars happened when Clinton was president? You had the uprising in the what do you call it? In Yugoslavia, all that Kosovo stuff. What wars? Well, that was continuing. I understand. When Trump was president, I get it. But there's time. There's a lot of times. There's a lot of times. Somalia, that really wasn't a war. That was a civil war. We just got involved. I mean, this is just because there wasn't wars during Trump's first administration doesn't mean the second term of Donald Trump that it's going to be the same. It's different. The world changes, man. And to be honest with you, that first term, I think there was definitely a hesitancy by other nations in what they expect from Donald Trump. I think the second go around is going to be a little bit different, guys. I think there's going to be a little bit different. Absolutely, there's going to be a little bit of difference. I think they might have a book on Donald Trump now. I don't think that the fear of the unknown is quite as prevalent as it was during his first term. What does Putin want more than anything? Yep, he wants to break up NATO, man. Absolutely he does. 100%. 100%. He doesn't want NATO in his backyard. He's trying to divide every Western nation. 100%. And that is true. He can't, there's no re-election. And that's going to be, and hey, LD, that brings up a great point. How much leverage is he going to have when other countries know he's only there for 4 years? That's it, right? There's only 4 years. You don't got to worry about a second term with Donald Trump. That's not a civil war. A civil war is within. If they had a war within Russia, that's not a civil war. You're invading another country, Matthew. That's not a civil war. Ukraine is its own sovereign country. Hey, the Soviets, Russians, whatever, they can look at it that way, but that's a sovereign country. That's a sovereign country. They have the book on Trump. Pitch him up and in. That's pretty good, Marcus. That's pretty good. By the way, I appreciate you dropping by. And that's the same way. Yeah, you know what? You do have a little bit more leverage if you're able to have 2 terms. You're able to have a little bit more leeway in getting stuff done. But the rest of the world knows he has 4 years, man. They could wait it out if they want to. They could wait it out. Look, a lot of these countries can wait it out. They got no problem. Absolutely no problem. And let's not think about it, guys. I'm telling you, I've been reading a lot of stuff, and you got to be careful because 2027 is supposed to be a date where China is going to start doing their thing. Does it mean it's going to happen? No. But from what everyone is talking, who knows? It might even be faster than that. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how this pans out. Again, I'm sticking to just the foreign affairs aspects of what we may see in this Trump administration. It's going to be interesting. Again, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. We could talk about him. And you got Marco Rubio, who's been tapped to be the nominee for Secretary of State. We'll see what that means. Hey, you guys want to let's take a look at the biography. Let me blow this up a little bit. Let's take a look at what this guy brings to the table. Again, National Security Advisor. There it is. Here we go. Congressman Mike Waltz is a colonel retired in the National Guard, a combat decorated Green Beret, former White House and Pentagon policy advisor, small business owner and author, and a proud father. He is the first Green Beret to be elected to Congress. Okay, we don't care about where he was born. Mike served his country his entire life, graduated from VMI with honors, served 27 years in the Army and the National Guard, retiring during his second term in Congress. After being commissioned as an Army lieutenant, he graduated Ranger School and was selected for the elite Green Beret Special Forces, serving worldwide as a Special Forces officer with multiple combat tours in Afghanistan, the Middle East, and Africa. For his actions in combat, Mike was awarded 4 Bronze Stars, with 2 including Valor. During his time, that doesn't mean nothing. Mike's servant leadership continued in the White House, as well as the Pentagon, as Defense Policy Director for Secretaries of Defense Donald Rumsfeld and Robert Gates. He also advised the Bush administration on policy he then carried out in the military. He wrote a book, inspired him, Warrior Diplomat, a Green Beret's Battles from Washington to Afghanistan. Benefit Green Beret and Matthew Pusino Foundations. Wrote another book, children's book. A former Fox News Channel contributor, provides expert commentary on foreign policy, defense, and business issues to viewers around the world. Let's see. He was the chairman of the House Armed Services Subcommittee on Readiness and a member of the House Oversight and Accountability Committee and House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Mike has championed legislation to restore our military back to be merit-based and mission-focused. Serves on the House China Task Force. Coordinate policy on China. That's important, guys. He sponsored legislation to reduce American reliance on Chinese critical minerals and pioneered legislation to secure American universities and academies from Chinese espionage. All right, there we go. So that's a little bit of history on Mike Waltz, who has been tapped to be the new White House, or I should say, Trump's national security advisor. Average age of Russian army is 40. Yeah, they're getting a lot of old guys, man. A lot of guys out of prison. It's crazy what they're doing. All right, what do we got? What do we got here? Oh, let's see. Okay, let's go. Tom, we know Russia started a war by invading Ukraine, but explain how Ukraine can actually win the war. I haven't heard anyone. You know what? Great question, Tom. Keep hammering away at them, I guess. And to be honest with you, they're talking about maybe leveling. What do you call it? Oh my gosh. Sanctions. More sanctions on there. Absolutely. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see, how this all works out. 100%. Do you think Rick Scott will become the Senate majority? I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I don't know. Trying to figure out who's going to be Senate majority leader, House leader. Republicans usually don't have a very good history in electing their leaders. We'll see how that pans out. Gonna be interesting. I don't know, man. That, again, is that going to mean anything? I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, I saw that, Mo. They're talking about more gas tax. $2. Is that $2 a gallon? That's why I'm getting out of this state, dude. I can't. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to get into the domestic stuff, guys. Not going to even touch that. That's all. That topic could be, you could find that somewhere else, guys. I'm not going to even get into that. I'm going to stick to my wheelhouse, which is military history and that type of stuff. You just got to keep supporting them. Maybe allow Ukraine to strike a little bit deeper into Russia. Right? Mike Tyson, Steve-O. Mike Tyson is going to win this Friday. Too much hoopla about North Korea. The only thing about that, Lemur, yeah, they're probably not going to be very good fighting as well. But it's Russia having to, Russia talks about, or actually it's us talking about, we can't escalate. God forbid if we escalate. Well, Russia's going to escalate whether you escalate or not. They're going out there getting North Korean troops, right? Basically as fodder, because it's meat wave tactics by the Russian army. They get the North Korean and Iranian missiles. They get Iranian drones. They get Chinese weapons. But yet, God forbid, if Ukraine uses Western weapons to attack Russia. I want Tyson, but you think it's a big setup for Paul? You think so, huh? No way. Russia is going to be Russia, yes. Unbelievable. Jeez. Talking about the damn tax. That pisses me off. Anyway, guys, you want to check out the article? Check out the description in this live stream. I put the link out there, so if you guys want to go back and reread it yourself, again, this guy's an expert, knows what he's talking about. Fantastic historian. He knows what he speaks about. So when you start hearing about President Trump talking about negotiating peace for the Russian-Ukrainian war, just understand it's not as easy as what he's going to make it sound, guys. It's not going to be easy. And what is he going to be able? How is he going to be able to do this? We'll find out. Just like how we'll find out what are the Giants going to do in the offseason. We're just going to have to sit back and find out, man. Same thing, right? Of course, different stakes. Anything new in the Middle East? That's kind of calmed down a little bit. Big news in the Middle East. Israel, or I should say Netanyahu, the prime minister, got rid of his military. Basically, his version of Secretary of Defense, he let him go. It's going to be interesting. I don't know what Iran's going to do. We'll see. And it's all going to be determinant on what Iran does. If they retaliate, it would be stupid. To be honest with you, it would be stupid. Yeah, I mean, goodness, yeah. Israel's just taking care of business up in the north. Also, still taking care of business in Hamas, with Hamas as well. Kind of the big news is kind of what's going on over in Amsterdam. A lot of crazy. I know, LD talked about it on Giant Sports Talk Live. Big news, man. Big news. Japan, Japan. Hey, Japan's also got to defend themselves as well. That's kind of like the big thing, Yes, United States should be there as a friend and as an ally, but some of these countries have to do for themselves as well. Taiwan has to step up. Philippines are stepping up. You don't want look. It's going to be a key factor in here too. India is going to be a key factor in this as well, guys. You're going to have to keep India on our side. You don't want them drifting over there to support in China. All right, LD, have a good one, man. Appreciate you hanging out for a little while. No worries, LD. We'll be back on tomorrow. Hey, we talk about the same stuff every night. It's kind of what until news breaks, man. It's kind of just talking about the same thing. We try to change the topic, but then you know how it goes, man. We start drifting down the soda hole. It's going to be hard, that's for sure. I do think having President Biden being funneled millions of dollars getting funneled millions of dollars to his son gives us a better chance. I don't know what that means. Look. He's on his way out, man. It doesn't matter what the hell. What's Biden been doing ever since he announced that he was dropping out of the race? What has he been doing anyways? Not much. So, whatever. Again, has nothing to do with the war. Nothing. Oh, not getting. Thanks, LD. Appreciate it, man. All right, guys. I was planning on maybe going to about 11:30. Don't know what else to talk about. You guys got anything out there? It's an interesting topic again, guys. I find this fascinating. You know, I'm a big guy on seeing how we negotiate with other nations. Not getting. Gotcha, Matt. Okay, gotcha. Dude, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. They're getting their millions one way or another. Let's not be naive to not understand that politicians, they're making their money. 100%. How do you think Israel and Palestine will be worked out? It will never be worked out. Honestly, I think in our lifetime, I don't think it gets worked. How about that? In our lifetime, we're not going to see it get fixed. History of Ukraine and the Soviets, man, dude, I got to do some prep work for that one. I can't come off the dome with that one, but there's a lot of it. Not necessarily with the Soviets. Soviets would probably be a little bit easier because it didn't become the Soviet Union, of course, until early 20th century. But if you want to get into the history of Russia and Ukraine, it goes back a ways. Israel is going to get the green light? Maybe. I'll tell you one thing. Can't allow Iran to get the nuclear weapon. You can't. I'm telling you. You cannot allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon. Will this... Senior, I don't know, man. To be honest with you, there's been so much history in there. You know, between both Israel and the Palestinians. Israel has willing to give up land. Palestine has said no. It's back and forth, man. Again, it's not going to get solved in our lifetime. And what will be the solution? I cannot tell you. I cannot sit here and tell you how that is going to be solved. This goes back quite a ways. So I can't speak to that. It just, it's chaos. That's for sure. I don't think we get drug in it. Now, no, we could talk about the Houthis. I don't know what the hell the Houthis. Dude, I'm telling you something. The Houthis have got to be the most resilient nation on the face of this planet. How, since October of last year, they have been launching missiles at ships. They've been launching missiles at Israel. And they've been bombed, and they're still doing it. United States have been hitting the Houthis for a year. And they're still firing missiles, still shooting at ships. What in the hell? What are they doing? Are they a superpower? Is it United States, China, and the Houthis? I don't get it, man. It's weird. I don't get it. It just boggles my mind that the Houthis are still doing their thing. Speaking about Iran going nuclear, Eric, what do you think about Kenneth Walt's theory that nuclear proliferation actually makes the world makes the world safer? Whew. Okay. Yeah. Hey, if you think North Korea and Iran getting nuclear weapons is a good thing, all right, man. I don't know what the hell you've been reading. Iran's giving them weapons? Absolutely. U.S. is not taking them serious enough? Absolutely. Weak leadership, Lemur. That's the problem. Weak leadership. That's what it comes down to. It's pathetic. Now, is that going to happen once Trump comes in office? We'll find out, guys. But it's pretty damn pathetic. Again, sends a clear message to the rest of the world. If the United States cannot take care of the Houthis, how do you expect them to take care of bigger foes? It's scary. You're setting a precedent That is not going to work out well. It's all that's going to do is create even more chaos in the world. If the United States just went in there heavy, ended the problem, then that's when you stop. Then people look and say, woo, we cannot piss off the United States because this is what we expect. But if you do this stupid way of barely doing anything, makes you look weak. I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey guys, well, you know what? Oh, I'm still at it. Hold on. Let me do this. Played it the other day. Let me get this ready. Not yet. Okay, I'll wait on that here. All right, guys. Hey, since this is a Veterans Day, I made a little video last year. So don't mind the title because it says Celebrating Veterans Day 2023. But it still holds true today. So let's take a look at what I did a year ago. Hold on. Let me do this first. Boom. World War I, known at the time as the Great War, officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919, in the Palace of Versailles outside the town of Versailles, France. However, fighting ceased 7 months earlier when an armistice, or temporary cessation of hostilities, between the Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918 is generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. Veterans Day continues to be observed on November 11th, regardless of what day of week on which it falls. The restoration of the observance of Veterans Day to November 11th not only preserves the historical significance of the date, but helps focus attention on the important purpose of Veterans Day. A celebration to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. An example of American veteran patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good can be shown long before the idea of Veterans Day came about. President Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address illustrated many concepts about our nation at the time, one of which is the sacrifice Americans made to defend the nation. President Lincoln's ideals expressed in the Gettysburg Address can also be attributed to all veterans who have served the nation, which some have paid the ultimate price. The following are excerpts from President Lincoln's most profound speech. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, no long remember what we say here, but it can be never forgot what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they fought here, have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. All right, there we go. All right. Lemur. Oh, look at that. 158 Avon. Look at that. Were you in the 5th? Hey, were you in the 5th Special Forces Group, Lemur? Right on, man. Thank you for your service. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Do you have any friends that are still in, by the way, Lemur? Hey, that's fine. No worries. It's all good. Right on. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. I think I might be shutting it down here soon. Just wanted to focus again, like I said, on this whole Russian-Ukrainian war. When is it going to end? Don't know. How is it going to end? Don't know. Honestly, there's only really one person who can end this, and it's Vladimir Putin. If he decides to go ahead and end it, hey, it'll be over. Honestly, he's the one man that could literally end the war. But what would it take for him to do such a thing? That is going to be the question. Shardal, I can't bring you on, dude. I told you. This is OBS, man. It's totally different. I just can't throw the link out there. But, yeah, I don't... can Putin be negotiated with? I don't know. Again, don't take it from me. Read some of these other historians and people, the subject matter experts of this, and they will tell you it's not going to be easy. So all we can do is just see what happens. Again, politicians make promises during an election year. Sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't. Thanks, Instant. Appreciate it, man. Chardal. Better behave, dude. There you go, Marcus. Right on. Oh. Chardal, are you understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth? I cannot send the link, my friend. It's impossible. Hey, just a little bit, Red. Just a little bit. But it's all good, man. I love talking about this stuff. Absolutely love talking about this stuff. I love talking about baseball, and I love talking about military history type stuff. So, love it. Again, guys, if you guys want to read more, Sergey has a lot of books out there, but I suggest To Run the World. Great book, man. It's kind of a heavy read. But you will learn a lot. You kind of learn the mindset of what it was like in the Soviet Union and what they were looking for in not necessarily negotiating, but in their relationships with other nations, specifically with the United States. What's up, Senior? He says, Eric. I think it's more puffing. Honestly, I think it's more puffing, Senior. I think he's trying to do that to get NATO to pay up, which there are quite a few nations in NATO that need to pay up, no doubt about it. They're everyone. I shouldn't say everyone. people who are in the know understand that needs to happen. And if it means threatening that, again, because some of these nations don't know how to take Trump, it kind of scares them into spending that they should spend. So I think some of that is just more puffing up. There's no way he pulls out of NATO. No way. If he does, boy, I don't know what the ramifications of that is going to be huge. So again, I think that is the reason why Trump does that. Rocks, come on, dude. Yeah, dude, just stand down, right? Hey, my country's being invaded, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just, hey, come on in, Russia. You want Ukraine? Have it all. That makes no sense. Rocks, love you, man. I love your enthusiasm for the Giants. I have to push back on that, man. That's not how you get it done. It's not. You can't do that, Rocks. You just cannot. That is the wrong. It's not the USA's business. It's between Ukraine and Russia. But you look what's happening. Russia is invading a sovereign nation. You can't do that, man. You can't get away with it. I get what you're saying, Rocks. I understand. But you can't be isolationist when it comes to that, Rocks. You can't. You cannot do that. Only thing, what are we doing? Now, have we lost an American life over there? No, we haven't. All we're doing is supplying them with weaponry. The Ukrainians are dying every single day defending their nation. They're defending the nation from another country that invaded them for no good reason. And senior, you speak to it, allies, you got to have friends. You have to have friends. Balance. I like that, Lemur. I like that. Yep, there you go, Matthew. Yeah, yep. Again, I don't think that's going to work this time around, though. I think he's going to have a little bit more substance this time, Matthew. With this go around for Trump, he's going to have some more substance rather than just uttering out some craziness. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Anyways, guys, appreciate your guys' support. Love talking about this. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something. Again, go out there and get your own information too, guys. Just, again, don't take my word for it. I like to use some references that have some weight and some pull, if you will. Again, you'll be able to catch me again tomorrow night on Giant Sports Talk Live, where we'll talk more baseball. When will my next show be on here? I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see. But I wanted to go on today. Again, it's Veterans Day. Did my little ode to Veterans Day. And then, of course, talk about this. Because this is big. This is kind of big news as far as talking about foreign policy stuff. Anything big happens, of course, then I'll be on here and we can talk about it. Anyway, guys. Thanks for the support. I truly do appreciate it. And we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.